Today's topic is daily habits so that you can never age. Now, I wouldn't say these are daily habits, but these are some things that you can do. You can pick out a particular day in the week and do it. So there is a kind of a regime that you can do from Monday, Tuesday, and do different things. So if you'd like to know really what is this kind of thing that actually makes us age and what can we do to control it, stay on. Okay. Now, why do we age? Now, the biggest reason we age, and for every being that is there, the telomeres in in your DNA and your chromosomes, they start to shorten. Now, whenever a cell divides, cell divides when it's trying to multiply and is growing, right? So when it divides, automatically what happens, the telomere starts to shorten. Okay, and it shortens and shortens and shortens. And finally, what really happens, we start to lose this with age over time. Okay. And as the cells keep dividing, you find that these telomeres or these little tails that are there stop growing. They start becoming shorter. And what happens? It literally actually starts to die. And and they call this senescent. Okay. So your telomeres shorten, they become senescent cells. So which means they're just there and they're almost dead. Okay. So couple of research people have actually gone and jumped into this and said, is there anything we can do about this? And of course, they're trying to create drugs for this and they're trying to find ways. But it's a not a journey that's easy to kind of get to. But they say they might come up with some magic pill for this. But in the meanwhile, what should you do to stop this? And the biggest guy that really, not just how old you are, but chronic stress is something that can start to shorten your telomeres. It acts as a catalyst for this. So you can see all the kinds of things that come into your head, worrying about it is something that is going to ruin your age. Okay. And people who are very stressed, they start to look old faster. I've seen people under extreme stress, and even with me, sometimes there is a stressful situation. I find that I start getting, suddenly my hair has become slightly, a couple of hairs have become gray. Okay, so stress can actually cause a lot of these problems. And if you want to know more about this stress and what are the big factors, there's a video I've done earlier. You can go back and check on it, and it's about stress and cortisol and a whole lot of things out there. But here are the solutions. Okay, everybody wants to know what to do. It's important we know what to do. And meditation is what I'd say is a very, very good way to get past this. Yeah, any kind of meditation, they find people, and they've done actually studies, they've found that people who do a lot more meditation, actually their DNA and their genes are much better. Okay. The telomeres are longer, etc. Okay. So try and get this. And like I'm saying, this is something you can do one day in the week. And what does that mean? Just meditate, just relax. Try to make your mind absolutely blank. Disconnect from any external, put your cell phone off, because if it rings, you're going to break out of meditation. Just do it for 15 minutes and just be mindless. I mean, just think you're floating as nothing in space, and there are no stars and no planets, anything. You're just floating there. And just even if you do it for 5 to begin with, you slowly get the hang of it and you do it for longer periods of time. Okay. Meditation actually slows down a lot of the stress hormones that are there in the body. And it also helps the mind pause a bit and say, okay, hey, let's get a grip on reality. Okay. Now, the other things that you can do on another day of the week is use retinol based creams. Now, retinol based creams, or retinol is a derivative of vitamin A. Okay. And what retinol does is it allows the cell to turn over. What it does is it doesn't allow that dead cell to stay there for too long. Okay. So it promotes the growth. Okay. And, the sooner you promote the growth, you know, the better off you look, especially when it's external and it's your skin. It's something that you can do. So your turnover, or like they say, exfoliating happens, right? Yeah. So glycolic acid is also another thing which you'll find commonly called as AHA. Now, There are dead cells that hang on, especially when I talk about your skin. They hang around on your skin, and what you can do is you can use this, and it will help debond those dead cells because the dead cells actually still cling on to you. And all of this finally helps in exfoliation. So you have a fresh layer of skin that comes out. Okay. So yeah, it's like not accumulating too much of trash on your skin. Okay. Now it also boosts the collagen in your skin. Okay, so collagen, as you know, is an extremely important, vital component in your skin that gives you a certain amount of elasticity. And if you do this once a week, it's fine. Now, if you want to find out, is there a regime I can do, and what should I do, and how should I do it, how much should I put? There is a site called quizmd.com, and you input a few parameters, and it will give you a kind of a routine of what you want to put. Of course, I definitely don't recommend you using uh, overtly chemical based creams. The more you can get stuff that's based on natural items, I'd say you'd better prefer it. And for those of you who are having, omega-3 or cod liver oil or fish oil capsules, you'll get a good amount of AHA from that. So it does help. And of course, those who are following the dynamic vitality model would have got a lot of these things already in the system. Okay. Another thing you can do is derma rolling. Okay, now this derma roll, it's very inexpensive. You'll get them almost anywhere, and they have various depths and lengths. And this is something that they've used to actually help cure acne marks. So you can see an exact example of what has happened to somebody after they've used a derma roll. It's a dry derma roll. Okay, you don't have to do no special lotions or anything. It's a bit pokey, and it does kind of invade your skin. But what it happens is it boosts collagen production. Okay, and it helps loosen up some dead cells that might be lying underneath. It also allows a lot of uh, nutrients to get to the surface of the skin, and that's why this derma rolling really helps. Okay, now derma rolling is not only great for your face and your skin, it's also great for your scalp. And I've been trying it a little more seriously of recent, and I found that yeah, it does promote follicle hair growth a lot. Of course, you definitely need to give the nourishment to the scalp, which is another story altogether. So it's a little beyond this. So I'm just talking about even this kind of stimulation by a derma roll, which is slightly invasive. Uh, and you can definitely go to a clinic that actually does these kind of micro needling services. And it's something great that you can do. And they're probably experts. And if you have kind of a nasty patch somewhere on your skin and you want to get rid of it, they can give you kind of treatments which are revolving around micro needling and lamp therapy, and a whole lot of things are there, laser therapy, etc. Yeah, and so you can see what happens. We did a topic a couple of weeks back on near infrared light, okay, which actually helps you increase the melatonin in your body. And so you can see what a dramatic difference this near infrared light has done to this lady out here. You can see how how much of change has occurred. Now I'm not saying you do this every day. I'm saying just find a time to do it once a week. And more popular now, you're getting infrared masks, which you just put it on, and you and if you think that's a bit too awkward or funny, well, all you do is just buy a little lamp, a near infrared lamp. It's a very small thing, and you just shine it in your face for a couple of minutes, and we still don't like that. Then what you can do is make sure you find a romantic sunset. Okay, because you get or a fantastic breezy sunrise where you get a lot of infrared in those stages. If you have the ability to do that, then great. But those living in big cities, a lot of tall buildings kind of obstruct the view of rising or setting sun. So unless you're living on a very tall building and you're right on the top floor, it may not be easy for you to get the sunrise and sunset. So course, if you can't do that, then always recommend you buy one of these near infrared lights. As you can see, it does really make a difference. And that's why I say you need to get out into the sun a lot more often. And you can watch my previous video on melatonin. I'll give you a little more details about that. Now, the other solutions are definitely vital components like vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin K, vitamin D, vitamin B. Now, this is probably already there in your supplements, or it's even there in your food, and it's important that you have it. So, the multivitamin and multi-mineral scenario really works. But unfortunately, you do get a lot of multivitamin, multi-mineral, but unfortunately, they kind of put a lot of additives to it. And I've seen sodium laureth sulfate being used in a multivitamin capsule or a tablet, whatever. So you got to be very careful, look behind the label, and make sure you're getting, strictly a very, very good, organic based multivitamin, multi-mineral. Uh, the chemical ones, they probably put too much of stabilizers and things like that, which may not really be great. But if you have nothing available, then okay, you may take one or two of those, just to get by. Of course, there are a lot of links with Ayurvedic items, herbs and Ayurvedic items that actually do play a huge role. And of course, you can see these are all the scientific names for them, but you'll definitely know them. Turmeric and aloe vera, uh, triphala. I mean, they are commonly spoken, and a lot of them. Okay, and they have different names in different languages. So you can definitely look up a lot of these Ayurvedic items, which are and look for Ayurvedic antioxidant, look for adaptogen, and you start getting results for that, immune stimulants, things like that. So don't forget to also make sure you're getting your green leafy vegetables. Uh, and a lot of these things will only come from, a lot will come from the vegetarian food. And that's why it's a good practice whenever you start your meal. And let's say you've got carbohydrates, which will be in terms of some kind of starch. You'll have some protein source, and you'll have vegetables. The first thing you should do is eat the vegetables. Yeah, it's a practice, because what happens is the body will readily absorb a lot of these molecules that your body needs, and it'll absorb and it'll redistribute really, really quickly. The next thing you do is you have your protein, because that's kind of the body builder for you, and the starch is something that you need for energy. So it's in that order that you eat. So I've kind of done with this particular session. And if you did find this topic interesting and you'd like to know more about it, don't forget to, question, make a comment, anything. And I'll see you in the next week.